We're joined today by Father Simon Devereux, the legendary father. You were a legend to us, but we were younger. We knew your name. We were never in the same community. It's great to have you.
Hey, it's great to be here. Yeah. I guess I was known because I had two older brothers who were legionaries too, so the Devereux name, right?
Are they still in it? Are the older brothers?
Yeah, well, one of them is and one of them's not. So, yeah, Pete is he's in the community, LC community in Raleigh, North Carolina. And he was the superior up until couple of months ago, and he finished his term, and he's also the parish priest of St. Joseph's Parish there.
Okay.
And yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. And then Matt, who was like Mr. Poland, he was Father Poland for like I think he did 16 years in Poland. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit about his story later on. But yeah, he actually asked for a dispensation, and so
Okay.
I mean, that's been a long journey for him. But yeah, he got his dispensation the beginning of the year, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to him on his finding his way.
A journey.
Yeah. Oh, and then Andrew, then my older brother. I'm the youngest. But the next one up from me, Andrew, do you remember him? He was a missionary for a couple of years and then got through to first year of internship. You don't remember Andrew? Yeah, he was, yeah. If you knew him, you would remember. He's fun. He's fun. Yeah, they're all fun, but Andrew is memorable.
Yeah. That's cool. And you're in California? You're saying Santa Clara?
Yeah, I'm here. So there's 8 of us this year. So Father Justin Keelhorn, who you remember, Father Justin, Father Justin actually arrived the same day. We both arrived on Halloween, but a year apart. So
Wow.
I don't know if that's significant in any way.
Yeah.
So he's in your community over there.
He's in the community, and then Father Thomas Vendetti. Did any of you have him in the Apostolic School?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay.
I know the name.
Yeah.
I didn't.
He was there when Spencer and I joined the first summer program. He was there, and then came back later.
Okay. He was the one who did built the Colosseum out of ice. He was like the mastermind. Okay.
That's why I know him.
Ringing some bells. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I had frostbite, right? They were back in the Apostolic School.
Yeah.
And let's see, Father Matthew Schmitzy. Father Matthew Schmitz. Yeah, he's with us.
I know the name. I'm not. You know what? No, I do know. Who. Yeah.
He was with Father David Barton and who else? Bender, Father John Bender, kind of that generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Bender.
Yeah. And let's see who else. And some older, not too much older, but Father Brian Schinninger is with us. He's he's been in California for, like 15 plus years, I think, his whole priesthood. He was at the Apostolic School in Colfax.
Wow. Okay. So I probably met him when they visited us.
Yeah. Did you guys ever read the Father John Doyle's book on the Apostolic School in Colfax?
No, he has a book?
Must read. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
I didn't know he had a book.
I didn't know there was
one.
I forget the name of it, but he doesn't pull any punches. He tells it exactly how it was from his point of view. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's got to be...
We're going to have to find that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some stories there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I might get that book for my plane ride.
Yeah.
And then who else have we got out here? We've got Father Anthony Sortino and Father Tamsin Huynh, who was just ordained. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Father Kevin Lixie is our new superior, just arrived fresh from Rome. There, he was working in the Vatican. And I feel like I'm missing someone. This is going to be awkward.
Is Brother Joseph Myrna in your community?
Joseph was with us. Yeah, he did his internship here, went back to Rome for a little bit, and then he discerned out. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Father Tamsin. We weren't sure where he landed, so
yeah.
But we did say between Spencer and I, we did say that we couldn't picture him anywhere else besides being in the Legion.
Yeah.
He always seemed accustomed to that.
Yeah.
Lifestyle.
Well, his mom, I went to the ordination, and so his dad got up the next day after the mass, his first mass, in the catacombs, and he said, "Yeah." He said, I always encouraged my son, but my wife, she was always calling him and say, come home, come home. The food there is awful. I give you steak. I make you steak every night. But Tamsin was like, he was having none of it. It's like, no, he was locked in.
Yeah. State couldn't. That's how you know it's a vocation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom's cooking can't budge.
Yeah.
If that won't move you, nothing will.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah. So he did his internship here as a brother, and he was just a brother, and then he came back now as a priest. So he's helping out at Canyon Heights Academy, their grade school, and doing ECYD, and he's camping this weekend with some of the school families. So yeah, he's living the dream out here. Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah.
Wow. And what's your responsibility there?
So I do vocations, but more and more I'm just kind of focusing on spiritual direction. That's what I'm really enjoying. Yeah.
Cool.
So getting some training there with Divine Mercy University, and it's good. There's a lot of young adults here, with the tech companies. So they come in from overseas, from around the country, and they don't have obviously family here, most of them. So, there's some Catholic communities here that they plug into, which we help out with, like YCP. Have you heard of that? YCP. I thought it was a Native American tribe, first of all, YCP, but it's Young Catholic Professionals, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. They started in Dallas, and anyway, so we are involved with that, and so it's good. Go hiking with the guys, and it's different sporting things and retreat work and all that jazz. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Has the Legion clarified what spiritual direction is versus dialogue with your superiors, or has that? I mean, that was a thing in 2009. I imagine it's solved by now. But if you're into spiritual direction, is it like one more than the other?
Yeah, like before it was just like your superior was everything, right? Yeah. He was like your spiritual director, formation dialogue,
your confessor, your
confessor. Like, my gosh. Yeah. I think back now. I think back on like Father Julio Marti, and he would like stay up until God knows when, because he'd be the novice instructor, and then he's up, doing confessions until late, and then he's going back to his office, probably answering dependence notes and drinking coffee and drinking more coffee, and they're getting up early.
He always had coffee.
Yeah. I mean, whoa, that was just insane. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I don't know how any superiors did it, because the workload was so much that it kept me from wanting power, for sure. I mean, I know there are vows and things like you're not supposed to seek power, but
there's power.
Didn't really appeal to me anyway. So
yeah. Thanks be to God, that's changed a lot. I mean, when Cardinal de Paulis came in as our apostolic delegate, that was one of the first things that he saw. And Ghirlanda, his Jesuit kind of sidekick, Father Ghirlanda, who was assigned by the Vatican II, he was like, whoa, you have to have, separation of forums, right? Internal forum, external forum. I mean, that was like basic seminary formation. And we didn't have that.
And there were a lot of, not a lot, but there were, from what I noticed, a lot of internal problems where people were trying to improve, but they couldn't get out of, they couldn't say what they needed to in confession or in spiritual direction because it was to their superiors, so they were limited in what they could say.
Oh man, I can only imagine the angst of guys and like, okay, do I tell my superior I'm doubting my vocation or I'm having this challenge? And it's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's too embarrassing. He can't know everything.
Exactly. No, and then for the superior too, because the superior's got to make decisions, and then you're like, TMI, right?
Yeah.
or maybe TMI on one extreme, or not enough information on one extreme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's changed. Thanks be to God. I mean, we have, designated spiritual directors. I'm pretty sure even in the apostolic school, there are priests. I know Father Janique Coette's going there this year as a spiritual director, so he's not a superior. And then obviously in Cheshire and thanks be to God, because there's totally different things, Spiritual directions, what I'm learning is really, you don't talk a lot. You're just reflecting back to the, whoever's coming to you and really helping them go deeper into what they're already experiencing of God,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We did this, Father Thomas Vendetti set up this 8-day walking pilgrimage every June. Maybe you've heard about it. It's called Camino Serra. And so it's walking the missions. It's 21 missions in California. We don't walk them all, but we do like 3 or 4 of them, and we end up on the tomb of Saint Junipero Serra on his feast day, July 1st. So it's 8 days walking, one day out of the city, then through the redwoods, and then over a couple of days on the beach. But every night we're having campfires and sharing highs and lows. And it was interesting for me because I've done some training now, and people throw out these zingers, right? They'll throw out something that really moved them in during the day, whether it was some conversation they had, or they saw a homeless person, or something that they read, or just the beauty. And what I would do the next day, I would go up to them sometimes and say, "Hey, you mentioned this during the campfire. It seemed like it was really moved you. Do you want to go deeper in that?" And they always they kind of needed someone to help them kind of really dig mine that gold mine, if you like, for what it was, So I'm really enjoying it because it's not formation. Really, you're not like telling people like catechism. You're just like, oh, tell me more, and did that really move you, and describe that more. And so it's fun. It's fun for me. I love it. Yeah,
that's beautiful. Yeah.
And do you find that you're better prepared to be in that position of talking to a spiritual director and walking yourself through your own issues?
Oh, yeah. Actually, so I started doing this course out of Divine Mercy University because it'd been like 10 years since I was ordained, and I was feeling a bit flabby, intellectually. I was like, I miss like doing some like academic work. So I was looking around for a bit of a course and kind of chose that one because I thought it kind of fit my work, but also, it wasn't such of a heavy, workload. So it was like, okay, let's do that. But learning how to do spiritual direction, I was like, whoa. We would start doing role plays with the class, and I was like, I'm getting more out of these role plays than I've ever gotten out of my spiritual direction in the with priests. Yeah. And I started to realize, oh wow, it's like they're very like, I've been lucky to have really good, wise, prudent priests, but they actually haven't been trained in like spiritual direction. And so I had to look for a new spiritual director, and ended up with a lay woman, a grandmother, would you believe, who is absolutely amazing. Yeah, she in one session I was just blown away, just because she knows how to listen, and she knows what she knows the rules of discernment of Saint Ignatius, so much experience, and I'm like, whoa, this is what spiritual direction is meant to be. Yeah, but it's cool. A lot of priests are getting trained. A lot of lay people are getting trained, and what I've learned too, guys, is that it's a charism. Not just because you're a priest are you necessarily a good spiritual director. It's like not every priest is necessarily a great teacher or a writer.
Right.
Like God gives gifts because he likes to give gifts. I don't know, but some priests are really good with young people. Others love to write. I have a friend who's like, yeah, I don't like doing spiritual direction. I can do like a one-off pastoral counseling, but I love teaching and writing. I don't like accompanying people long term, like for hours upon hours. And I'm like, I'm the total opposite. I don't like teaching, don't like writing. But yeah, I can sit down all day and listen to people.
It's so interesting you talk like this. We had Father Frederick on the other day, and like hearing the differences in how y'all talk and how you explain things is really fascinating to me. Like, it seems like you're all able to, as legionaries, express yourselves, find your own paths to achieve the missions that you want to achieve. But I guess my question is, like, is there something that you would say still unifies all the legionaries, or is it there really isn't anything like that anymore, and it's more each community kind of fitting in with the diocese in a certain way? Or yeah, I'm just kind of curious.
Oh, wow. That's a really cool question. Yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, I totally agree with you. That's a really good point that you've made, Spencer. I feel a greater freedom, greater space to explore and find out, what I enjoy, what I'm good at. And it's interesting that you're picking up on that too. What unites us? I think I would say we're more united in the essential, maybe less united in the non-essential. Like before, it was like everything, you had to have the shoes shined, the hair parted in the same way. Father Justin was telling us the other day at the Apostolic School, I don't know if you guys did this, but there was this this craze to have the shiniest shoes, right? And people were getting like using lighters or something. It sounded weird.
Melted onto your shoe.
Exactly. He had some funny stories about that. So I think, in the past there was so much focus on the external, and that's what supposedly united us. But I think when Cardinal de Paulis came on, after the earthquake explosion, Martial, then, and we started going through the constitutions, we started to realize, I think, at least I felt, that we were, like the charism itself it seemed to be coming more into clarity, and there was a greater unity, even though everyone was able to chime in from around the world. I like to think about the campfire, like Jesus around the campfire,
Okay.
That idea of, he spent, the days preaching and healing, but where was the real intimate time with Jesus was the 12 around that campfire. And that was there that he was really forming, what would become the church, right? And so I think for me, the charism of Regnum Christi, of which we're a part, is, going deep with those people who want to go a bit deeper, spending a lot of time with them, in different ways, whether it's pilgrimages or in schools or mission trips or one-on-one accompaniment, but really saying, okay, what's your gift? What's your charism? What's your particular gift? Because everyone's got a gift. Yeah. and I think we're called to help people figure out what that is, and then go share it with the world. So I think, that would be my take on it. Probably if you asked every legionary, it might be a little different, but stay tuned.
Well, that's good to hear. I like that. I like that there's different answers. That's a nice step forward in my opinion.
If we got the same answer, we'd be a little bit worried.
Yeah.
The same exact answer, we'd be like,
exactly. Something smells a bit fishy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What are they feeding you?
Yeah. But that was cool listening to Father Frederick. I listened to that whole thing, and that's really, really cool what you guys are doing. Listen to a bit of Joe Cunningham's as well. The space you're creating just to talk through things, I think is so needed. And it's awesome that there's just kind of no filters, like anything goes. Yeah.
Anything goes. Yeah. Sometimes it goes a little too much, but we try to rein it in.
Try to rein that in a little bit. Yeah.
And we definitely don't make bets anymore about who's listening, because we never know. But it all works out though. But we try to be, sometimes it feels like it is a little bit like spiritual direction. Not that any of us consider ourselves spiritual directors.
It's so healing, right? Just to talk through things. I mean, I've done a lot of group therapy, and it was just so helpful. And you're not even like giving people advice or cross talking. You're just going around, just sharing, and it was like very therapeutic.
Is there still team balance? Are y'all doing that? Is that
bring out the green book? Remember that?
That's not.
Remember the green book?
Yeah, I do.
Was it social etiquette? Etiquette and social formation.
Yeah, something like etiquette.
Yeah. Brother, I noticed that you didn't wipe your lips after you took a lip.
After you looked at that. After you applied salt to your bacon. So.
Oh my gosh.
It was before and after each sip. Yeah.
Before and after. Yeah, you did it before, but you didn't do it after, brother. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to kick you off the island now.
Knock down your piety grades.
Oh my gosh.
That was definitely just an apostolic school thing. I don't think piety grades was ever beyond apostolic school.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I don't know what they do in the novitiate and in the formation house. I've been away for so long. Here in our home, we kind of, I think most communities took a break from it, just because we were scarred from the Green Book and that whole modality. But we also recognize that we've been trying to look for new ways to do it, because that idea of fraternal correction is, some people say, feedback is the breakfast of champions. That idea of no one. I mean, it's helpful to have feedback, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
How can you do it in a way which is not, overly painful or hurtful? We've tried a couple of things. I don't think we've nailed it yet, but just like writing down, things that we notice which are really positive, kind of pat on the back, keep doing this. And then secondly, here are some possible improvement points that you might want to consider. So we've done that we just kind of start off really gently just by writing them down and then passing them over. Then I think the next time we were kind of a bit more comfortable, and kind of did it out loud. But I think we're still kind of growing into that. And we were so far to one extreme, and then we just kind of just left it alone for a couple of years. So now we're trying to find that happy medium,
Yeah, finding the balance is tough sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's something that we can't relate to because we don't have that community life anymore. So we're not forced to be around people. Like if we don't like someone, we can just ask them to leave our apartment or our house.
Right.
I'm partial to the idea of going to your brother in private and talking like a human and
Yeah.
saying, hey, here's something that's bothering me a little bit, and I think that, if it's possible, could you try this thing or whatever, and just as kindly as possible bringing it up. But
Yeah.
some people don't respond to that well, and it's like,
Yeah.
what can you do?
We got in touch with this group out of Spain. Interesting. It's called Eshma, which I guess is Hebrew for to listen. But anyway, it was founded by a former religious of a congregation. I won't name the congregation. He was abused as a minor. I think he went to one of their schools. Yeah, awful. Ended up joining the congregation. Discerned out.
Okay.
Now I'm married. But he had this whole journey. His name is it Juan Carlos? I think it's Juan Carlos. He had a whole journey of like he wanted to find healing for himself. So he approached the community of these priests and started a dialogue with them. It kind of morphed, it kind of snowballed, and he eventually, and now he has kind of I'm not sure if it's a nonprofit or a business, but he facilitates dialogue between, how would you say, between aggravated parties, whether it's abuse victims and religious institutions. I think he's even done work with terrorists and victims. So he spoke to the general chapter, I think, when Father John Connor was elected eventually. And then he started helping some of the communities, and then he's been helping us. I think we've done like 5 sessions with him and his brother. Interesting. Wow. They kind of I think they've been teaching us how to do that one-on-one, and also kind of the group setting as well, in a really calm, honest, prayerful way. We've learned a lot. We're by no means experts at all, but we're trying to figure out. Yeah, conflict is hard.
Do you find that finding the path forward in other areas is also difficult, or is obviously addressing conflict is hard. I can speak from personal experience, but do you find, I'm sure there's a ton of different ways the Legion used to be and that don't really align with what you want to do anymore, and I'm just curious, are there other areas that are difficult too to try to find the path forward and how y'all want to be?
I think one of the good things that came out of the renewal was the empowering, talking about power, right? Giving proper power to the local superior. Because before, everything was pushed up. Like, say, for example, a guy was in formation and started doubting his vocation. The priest who knows him best, right, oftentimes didn't feel really empowered to really help him. So he would ask the territorial director, "Oh, what do you think about this situation?" And then, you heard stories of, the territorial director would say, "Oh, let me ask the founder," because he's got direct line to God, and so that sounds like a really good solution. What could go wrong, right? But now you're like 3 people removed from the actual person, and so the founder who least knows this brother, is making decisions about what's best for him. That also has changed. Now the local superiors are actually being empowered to do their job. Yeah. So, we've experimented with different things here in the community in terms of schedule. the House of Formation, like, okay, adoration, night prayers every night, right? 9:30, be there or ask for a penance, remember you come in and you tap get a little thumbs up,
give them the little...
yeah. So we were like, well, hang on, we realized a couple of years ago we were trying to do this night prayers thing, but it was just not working because some guys were running the retreat center and that was finishing late, and some guys had to do prayers early in the evening because they were getting up early for school. So we said, okay, let's take it day by day. We want to pray together each day. And by that stage, thanks to COVID, we had gotten into a better rhythm of like eating together. So we now have one meal a day where we're eating together, and we have some prayer time before that. So like on a Tuesday, we have lunch together. We have half an hour of adoration before that. Wednesday, we have to do it early. So we do our prayer time together in the chapel during meditation. Then we have breakfast, you see? So there's
the flexibility.
A lot more flexibility.
I kind of miss the singing. Do a lot of groups still do the polyphonic singing and the harmonizing, or is that kind of... I hope that didn't.
Yeah, well, some of the communities I think are pretty small, so maybe they still do the full voices, even if they they don't know how to sing very well.
Even if there are 12
there's two people. Ventriloquism.
3 people a voice.
We do pretty well. We've got some good singers. Father Brian sings well. He knows the different parts. Father Tamsin, Father Lixie. So we're actually, we're thinking about getting a little band together. Father Kevin's got the banjo.
Ooh.
Father Vendetti's on the drums. We've got some guitar players. So yeah, stay tuned. Maybe we'll start our own podcast and. Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Like Father Keelhorn, the producer.
Yeah, he says he plays the keyboard, but we've never heard him, actually.
I never heard him. I don't believe him.
It's there in his room. I don't know. He says, wait, maybe that's a challenge. If he's listening.
Yeah. And we know he is.
We have to say some things like that, so he has to come on and defend himself in the next future episode.
Wait, and Father Simon, you also said that he's really bad at his apostolate.
Yeah, stinks. Let's do some team balance.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's not wiping those lips. Out the window.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, but yeah, there's a lot more freedom.
More
freedom, and I think generally, the community is a lot happier. I enjoy living here. I don't know if the other guys enjoy it.
Yeah. If you're speaking for yourself, that you're happy. That's all we can ask for.
Well, I wanted to share a little bit about. When I was in Cheshire I got sent there as a young priest, straight off the ordination. And on one hand, I really enjoyed it because I was doing a lot of apostolate and, fundraising, but that morphed into a whole lot of different side apostolates, youth work, Holy Land trips, all kinds of stuff. But I think I received a really special grace when I actually had a breakdown in 2017 that I thought it might be interesting to explore with you guys.
Yeah, never heard of this.
Yeah.
What kind of breakdown was it, and what were the events that led up to it?
Yeah, so it was a physical, kind of emotional breakdown. So I remember on November 30th, 2016... Actually, I was just reading over my journal the other day, and I wrote down something snapped last night or today. And I just felt in my interior, all of a sudden, something went wrong on a physical and emotional level. And as a consequence, I all of a sudden kind of had to stop everything that I was doing apostolically. I couldn't handle stress anymore. I would be in a meeting with our fundraising team, and after 2 minutes, I was like, "I'm sorry, I have to leave now," because I knew if I was like hitting the wall, and if I tried to break through that, something was going to snap even louder. Couldn't sleep. So then I got on this like bad cycle of insomnia. Got really irritable. It was dark. It was really dark. And yeah, I really didn't know what it was, to be honest. Father Justin had got Lyme disease around that time. So I was like, oh, I probably have Lyme disease. So, all those ticks out there and, so I started going to different doctors. So I went to my primary doctor, started working on the Lyme thing. I thought maybe it was my eyes, went to the ophthalmologist. Then I thought maybe it's a brain tumor. So went to the neurologist. Everything came back negative. So also I stopped playing soccer. That was a bummer because, the knees started to give out. So that was, I think, like my outlet for stress, playing with the guys there. So I went to the orthopedic surgeon and Dr. Aversa, who I had gotten to know kind of more from a fundraising point of view. He was a donor, really wise, Italian American. And he was like, hey, so I noticed you're on antibiotics. What's going on? And I'm like, yeah, I think maybe I have Lyme disease. He said, oh, okay. Did you get blood work done? I was like, yeah, it came out negative, but I'm told that, you don't always catch it, right? So I had obliged my primary doctor to give me antibiotics. So he was like, no. He said, you don't take antibiotics unless you know what you're dealing with. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. He said, what's going on? I said, well, yeah, I just can't sleep, bit irritable, can't really handle the stress. Yeah, just kind of my stomach's messed up. I don't know. And he looked at me and he said, oh, he paused. He said, oh, I think you're depressed. I was like, yeah, moi? Depressed? I was like, seriously? Who is this guy? Yeah. He said, yeah, I think you're depressed. So my son's a psychiatrist. Go to him. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I was like, yeah, right. Anyway, I went home, Googled depression. I was like, bugger. I have all those symptoms.
All those symptoms
here. Check. The only thing I didn't think I had at that time was the suicidal thoughts. But actually later, I realized that I had like fantasies or like... I remember swimming in the ocean. I was like, if I just drift away, no one cares. No one's going to care. Which wasn't true, but that's how I felt. So it was a really dark time. And it went on for months. And Father David Daly was the superior at the time, so he had tons on his plate, but he was really good. He checked in with me every day, and I kind of gave him an update. And but I remember going, the courtyard there in Cheshire, and after night prayers, go and make a visit to Our Lady there, the statue, the famous statue, the one where she's standing on the snake. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, it rocks. Yeah. So I went there and I hit rock bottom. I was like, I said, Mary, I can't do this anymore. I'm throwing in the towel. Like priesthood, legion, priesthood. I can't live. I can't breathe. I couldn't breathe. It was interesting because I kind of felt like this cold water being splashed on my face. And I was like, whoa, what was that? And I just had this intuition that everything was going to be okay. I ended up, Father Kevin Meehan was our vicar general, I think, a territorial vicar at the time. And he said, why don't you go and speak to the psychologist down in New York, Dr. Callie. So I was like, yeah, anything. I'm desperate. I'll talk to anybody, So I went down to New York and checked in with Dr. Callie. And then he said, come back, we'll do the testing. So I went back and we did like 3 hours of testing, everything from IQ test to math to I don't know if you ever done these ink blots. If you were, you guys did the candidacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had to do the psych tests. They give you these ink blots and like, what do you see in that ink blot? It's like nothing. Yeah. Butterflies.
Yeah. Butterflies.
The
yes,
men
exactly.
with knives are coming to kill me.
So anyway, did all that testing. I come back a month later, and he's got my like a 10-page report, and we flicked to the back, and the diagnosis was severe depression. And I'm like, well, on one hand, it was a relief, like, okay, finally someone's taking this seriously. We've got a name for it. But I was like, severe depression? I was like, nah, that's exaggerated. And he said, yeah, you're a very angry person. I was like, you don't know me very well. And he said, we'll get to know each other. I was like, whoa, what is this? So anyway, I was desperate. So July 3rd, 2017, moved out of Cheshire, kind of my tail between my legs, you know, went down to Rye. So we had a community in Rye.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And,
yeah. Right across the street.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, I think I saw your mum there. Maybe I saw your mum there a couple of times. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Probably.
So anyway, there were some guys, legionaries, living there, but doing what we called the program. The program. So we would go a couple of times a week to St. Vincent's Hospital in Harrison, New York. So it's a mental health institution, you know. So we would.
Oh, Harrison's money.
Well, yeah. So we would rock on up and you know, in our lay clothes, but it was a program, outpatient program for priests, clergy. So then we started, you know, doing group therapy, one-on-one therapy. I got on medication for about 1.5 years. We would even do art therapy. Yeah, that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah. They would come in, the art therapist come in with her like cart filled with scissors and paints and clay and lots of magazines where you could cut out images. And so first day, she says, like, okay, we've got some new people here. So just do something that like introduces yourself and, you know, maybe it's a hobby. And so I was like, oh, great. So I like tennis, so I started getting some chalk and started doing like a tennis court, you know, French Open, clay, blah, blah, blah. And then as we had like 20 minutes to do that. And then just as it's coming to an end, I said, oh, let me draw somebody in there. So I drew a little boy playing tennis. So then you present it, right? So I'm holding it up when it's my turn. I'm saying, okay, this, you can see I love tennis. I love the French Open. We just watched the French Open. And this kid's playing actually, yeah, that kid's not playing tennis. That kid's waiting for someone to come play tennis with him. And I was like, oh my gosh, father wound and all this stuff. And and anyway, so yeah, I was there 15 months doing drawing art therapy and talking about stuff. And
that's good because it's a real, like, people don't always understand that depression is a real sickness and it's something that affects your physical health. It manifests in physical ways and it can really ruin your, it's like trying to get by with having like strep throat and a fever. It's like, well, you wouldn't expect someone to do that. You let them go to rest and take medication and get better. It's good that the Legion is taking it seriously because it's not something that I would have expected to hear.
Nobody really knew. Honest. I was pretty good at hiding it.
Well, there are a bunch of priests at Rye who no one knew what they.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, they're just there. But I guess
exactly.
That's what it was.
I remember Father John Connor. He was our territorial director, and he was great. He said, "You take as long as you need. There is no pressure to." Don't feel like you need to rush through this. So yeah, I was there for 15 months. I mean, everyone was there for different reasons, and it was very personalized. But yeah, I'm just so glad I was able to go through that. Get the healing that I needed. I mean, a lot of it was family stuff. Probably some of it was biological, like a predisposition, but then compounded by my kind of very stoic British parenting styles. Maybe God made me more sensitive to words of affirmation and physical touch, and my dad just wasn't able to do that. God rest his soul. Couldn't give what he didn't have, right? But I was angry. I didn't realize, but I felt this rejection from when I was really little, like tiny, tiny, tiny. And so without realizing it, I was angry. And because I felt like I was being rejected. And in some weird way, I was blaming myself. I said, I must be bad. So when I became, so my whole life, I was like trying to be like perfect. So yeah, if I'd been in the apostolic school, I would have been there with the lighter, getting that perfect polish on the shoes. Piety grades, I would have rocked that. 10 out of 10.
Yep. Anything for a little
so
affirmation.
when I joined the Legion, I was like the perfect novice. Like, I never broke silence. I was petrified. I never got a detention in high school. I was petrified of stepping out of line. And then as a priest, I was like, finally had a platform to get people to like me. So like never say no to anything they wanted. So I was out of control. I was like a snowball just gathering steam, and I would just do more and more. It was crazy. And I was searching for that affirmation. And this is the weird thing. When I would get it, I wouldn't believe it. That which I most craved, and when it came, it was like, they're lying. I don't believe that. They're just being nice. It was like water off a duck's back. I was impenetrable.
There's I can relate to that on so many levels, like that struggle with perfectionism. I struggle with it today. And it's hard to find that balance between like not beating yourself up and holding yourself accountable. At least I do. I don't know but do you still find, because I still struggle with depression, but do you find that that's kind of more in your, know how to cope with it, so to speak? You have the
I think one thing, Spencer, is you're learning to be aware of the red flags or the warning lights. In your car, you got the red light. The engine's needs an oil change. I'm much quicker on that now. Like when I start to get irritable, I take a step back. Like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? I remember when I first came. So I left, finally graduated from the program, got reassigned to California. And then one of the priests, we would take turns cooking, but Monday night would come around and invariably he wouldn't prepare anything beforehand. So it'd be like last minute, he would say, oh, what should we do for dinner? And so after like the third time when he said that, I was like, I just flew into an internal rage. Like, what do you mean you haven't prepared? You had the whole day. If you'd only asked me, I would have helped you. And I was really triggered. And luckily, I was like, okay, I'm just going to step away. I'm going to go to my office, pull out the guitar, start jamming away, try and calm the spirits. But then when I, like a couple of days later, I was like reflecting, I was like, why was I triggered? Why was I so irritable? And then I started checking, like, have I been exercising recently? No. Have I been reaching out to friends, spending good time with friends? Like, how's my emotional tank? Low. Like, how's my prayer? I've been cutting corners. So I'm like, it's like, it wasn't his fault. Actually, I learned later that he just didn't really know how to cook, and he wasn't really good at asking for help. So yeah, I'm learning.
Love it. Now, are you a good cook? Do you like to cook?
I love to cook. Yeah, I love to cook. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a good cook. I know a couple of things.
Cool.
Yeah, if you guys come to visit, we'll treat you.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sure.
That sounds good.
Yeah. show you a bit of love.
Yeah. Cali burritos are famous, so that's my expectation.
Oh yeah. Well, we kind of going into a health kick here. We kind of, a lot of veggies, a lot of salads.
That's nice.
I'll bring some microgreens from Brooklyn. We have I'm serious. We have a microgreen company in Brooklyn that I work with.
What are microgreens?
It's like the little things you find in like you go to grocery stores and they have like little packets of like little bean sprouts and like little greens that you put in your salad, and they're supposed to be healthy. They're easy to grow.
Nice.
But it's for
Jacob, how do you feel about microgreens, bro?
No. Just give me the steak.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Oh my god. Yeah, Father Kevin just arrived from Rome. He's like, well, where are all the cakes? Where's the candy? We're like, well,
sorry.
Welcome
to California.
Yeah. So when you guys come to visit, we'll make you steak, but you have to bring us candy.
Yeah. We'll go.
We can do that.
We'll go shopping at Erewhon. Is that the expensive grocery store?
Trader Joe's.
Isn't there one in California that's more expensive? Isn't Erewhon?
Oh.
EREWHON. I think that's what. There's some ridiculously expensive chain.
Really?
Out there.
Whole Foods?
Yeah.
Whole Foods?
Whole Foods is expensive everywhere, but yeah. Like,
tell me about it. Yeah.
Worst state in the union, but hey.
For
gas prices only. I'm not saying it's a bad state.
Well, here you have to drive if you want to fit in, you've got to be driving a Tesla. James,
Same here. Same here. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a dealership in Mount Kisco actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I drive by the old retreat center.
Oh yeah.
And it's all boarded up, and then you keep driving, and there's a Tesla.
Oh, there's a
Tesla dealership.
Mount Kisco. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that property?
So whoever bought it has money, and they put up a big fence, a big black fence, and a gate, and it looks like there have been construction trucks driving in and out, but you can't see beyond the gate, and there's no trespassing sign, and I think they're I don't know what they're doing to it, but I think they have money, so I think they're fine.
Wow. I hope they're like ghosts. I heard there were ghosts in that building.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
I don't
there was some weird
but
stuff.
there were
there
was some weird stuff.
Yeah. That chapel, I think, was it Led Zeppelin? They did some...
Or Aerosmith, or someone recorded...
some heavy metal...
Highway to Heaven? Stairway to Heaven?
Stairway, something like that. Yeah.
So it
interesting
was
stuff. Yeah, that's what I don't know, but it was it'd be cool to see what they've done with it. They've put some money into it.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Maybe they're starting their own religion, and that would
be
interesting too.
Why not?
I gave a retreat there.
Did you?
I think I've told this story on the podcast, so people are gonna have to listen to it again. But
I haven't heard it. Tell me.
I was helping Father Michael Brisson cook. I was just gonna run the kitchen for a retreat one winter weekend, and it started snowing, and Father Michael couldn't make it, and all the locals canceled. But there were 3 women from New Hampshire that had already made the journey down. They were snowed in, and I had to give them a retreat and kind of cook for them, and like the boiler flooded at 2 a.m, and I had to go like. Not help with that. I just went in and I was like, yeah, you should call someone about this. What am I going to do? I'm 18. I can't do anything. Like, what are you going to I'm not swimming into a boiler room. Like, what are you... but I gave them a retreat. I had at least 1 or 2 meditations. And I was like, dang, I got this down. I could do this.
Yeah. Wow. My goodness. Talk about sink or swim.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was very I was very nervous at first, but then I realized it's just 3 of them, so what can
right, what could go wrong? Plus it was a silent retreat. They couldn't say anything back.
I don't know. I mean, it was a silent retreat, but there was no one to enforce that rule.
Oh,
so
okay.
There was like the people who live there, like the 2 people who live there, and then me.
Yeah.
So, and I was stronger than all of them, so I could fight them and win.
We spent a month there.
Okay, Andrew
we
Tate.
spent a month there at Mount Kisco doing. We were novices, so we were taking turns like looking after it. I remember running up and down that driveway. Oh my gosh, we'd run down to the bottom, and then the director would say, "Okay, it's time, showers." And you're like, "You're kidding? We have to run up this jolly driveway. We're gonna be late.
4 kilometers. And...
Exactly. Yeah, you want us to be on time? Seriously? Oh my goodness."
Yeah, maybe the next time I drive by, I'll release a drone and fly up to the house and see what it looks like, and have the police called on me.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's great. Yeah, good memories. Wow, some of them are good memories. Some of them are just good stories.
Yeah. Very true.
They're good from a distance of 10, 20 years. It's better that way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. Hey, well, this has been fun. I look forward to future episodes of whoever you're going to invite. You got to get Father Justin. That's a no-brainer.
Well, for sure.
No, if he would answer my phone calls,
your desperate IMs.
My desperate text messages.
Well, his reputation's on the line now, so no.
Yeah.
So he's got to defend himself.
This is an official call out.
That's the title of this, Father Justin. We ask you. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, I'll make you his superior for a day, and you have to force him to text me back.
You could do an episode. What do we really think about Father Justin?
Oh, yes.
What all the legionaries really think of Father Justin.
You could do a call-in. It could be a callback.
Yeah. Stay tuned, everyone. Next week we're gonna have a live call-in episode where you can just call in and tell us how much you love Father Justin.